Hello, my homies. OneSmartCat playing some Spellslingers, but not only playing Spellslingers, we are actually going to run through the patch notes as well. I'll give my opinion on everything that's going on. I did skim through it briefly. Oh yeah, look, here's Serra, the new Spellslinger.
Grace is never passive.
Yeah, I am actually going to do a game with her too, and show you the deck that I made. I think you might have an idea already, Sanguine Strahd, but this is probably going to be a pretty long video, so there will be timestamps in the descriptions if you want to go through the patch notes with me, or if you just want to see some Serra gameplay. Whatever you want to do, it is up to you. Now let's go jump to the patch notes. All right. So, first and foremost, we got our new Spellslinger. Now, I've done a couple of games with her, and she seems interesting. That healing yourself at the start of your turn, heal yourself and all friendly creatures by 1. It's only 1 health, but you have to remember, like, other people that have that 1 health gain, they need to do something to cause it. Like Liliana, whenever one of her creatures comes back, she gains a health. Serra just gets it every round. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if the opponent isn't constantly attacking you or doing damage to you, it can build up. Especially if you do extra healing items or healing spells or anything like that. It can get pretty oppressive. She's very, very interesting. I've been enjoying her so far. I've only done a couple of matches with her. She is able to do any multicolored card that has white in it, which is really, honestly, really strong. And the reason for that is I feel like a lot of the multicolored cards are pretty powerful. So the fact that she's able to use any multicolored card that has white in it is pretty good, honestly. There's a lot of stuff that she can do with that power. Some of the cards that she has is 4 mana, 2 charge. The first time you activate it, you get a knight, this guy. The next time that you activate it, you get a Serra Angel, this lady. I have some ideas to mess with this, to like give it a whole bunch of extra charges and to see what happens. Like, does it make a knight Serra Angel and then a knight and then a Serra Angel? Or does it do a knight and then Serra Angel, Serra Angel, Serra Angel? I don't know. I need to mess with it. 3 mana costs. Give an enemy creature can't attack. That's a pretty good shutdown power. It's almost like a stun, but they're still able to defend with it. So depending on the situation, this can shut down some big creatures. 2 mana drop, 2/2 attack, defense. Whenever it comes out, add a random angel to your hand. We literally have a Spellslinger that, just like Soren does vampires, Serra can basically do angels. Kind of cool. Some balance changes to other Spellslingers. What did they do? Liliana is a strong choice. She has underperformed a bit at higher leagues, so they're giving her 1 extra health. Not a big, not a big buff, but it is a buff, and I really do like Liliana, so giving her a little bit of buff so she can compete in the higher ranks, I have no issue with that. I need to play more Liliana, honestly. Also, the background music that you're hearing, it is League of Legends copyright free music, and I'm probably going to be playing it from now on whenever I'm doing Spellslinger, because I'm kind of sick and tired of the Spellslinger music. So hopefully it sounds okay. Hopefully you enjoy it, because honestly, I'm gonna have it around now. They do a bunch of different music and stuff like that, so it's all good. All right, Gideon got a bit of a nerf, which isn't. It's a good thing, because there was a lot of people playing Gideon, and I don't think he was super oppressive. But the fact that they bring him, he used to be a 4/4, now they're bringing him down to 3/3. It's not a huge nerf. Like, pretty much any deck that you had with Gideon is still completely viable. He's just a little bit weaker. So I don't have any issue with that nerf whatsoever, and I don't think that it's that bad of a nerf. Like, whatever deck you had with him is still completely viable. Vivian, they're changing one of her base cards. 1 mana, draw 1 creature, draft an upgrade for it. That's what it used to be. Now it's 2 mana, draft a creature, and give it a random upgrade. Okay, so it's a little bit more pricey, and you don't get to pick the upgrade. Now the upgrade is random, and that's fine. It's still a powerful card. The thing that hurts it the most is probably the jump from 1 mana to 2 mana. That now, you know, you can't use it on your first turn. So that's a decent nerf, but still, if you have it in your Vivian deck, it's still good in your Vivian deck. What'd they do to Ral? Okay, so they just made like the actual monster card, the actual creature card, Mizium Monstrosity. They just made the mana match what its spell is, because the spell is a 3 now. So now the creature itself is a 3 mana cost. So that's all good. That's just something to keep it like consistent, I guess. Teferi's Acolyte. It used to be next trap is free. Now it is next trap costs 2 less. Okay, that's pretty big. Whenever this thing came out, and you were able to just cast any trap you wanted for free, that, I mean, it was pretty huge. Like, you essentially told your opponent, like, hey, you know, I have a trap. Either set it off or don't. It's up to you. So now that it makes it so that it costs 2 less, there's still a lot of traps that can still be, will still be able to be cast for free, technically, because it reduces it by 2. But like it says right here, there are some decent traps that, you know, they need to be 3 mana to get. So I like that. That's a good nerf. Ashiok, Extract Fear. Okay, so they took back this previous nerf, because this was 1, and then they made it a 2 mana. Now it's back to a 1 mana. So with all the nerfs and stuff that they gave Ashiok, I guess they felt like they took a little bit too much power away from him, and they're giving him back this. Which one was this? Draft a copy of a card from your opponent's starting deck and add it to your hand. Yeah, that's fine. That's it, because Ashiok, it has been a bit weaker since they nerfed the hell out of him, but this gives him a little bit of a boost. I have no issues with that. Vraska's Grub. It used to be a 1 mana 2/1. Now it's a 2 mana 3/2. Okay, so they raised the mana price on it, but they made it stronger. They made it a 3/2. Wow. So I like the mana raise, because pretty much every Vraska, this would be their first play. Put down the grub in order to get a mana lead. So the fact that they can't do it till second turn now is a good thing. But making it a 3/2? I don't know. I don't like that they made it stronger, honestly. I think that just should have been a flat out nerf. I think they should have just kept the 2/1 and just raised the mana cost on it. Now it's a 3/2. It's a 2/3/2. So I mean, that's it. It's a decent blocker because it has 3. It can still be blown up by shock and stuff, but we'll have to see about that one. Laboratory Maniac. Here's one of the first big nerfs. This is what has been controlling the meta. One of the things that has been controlling the meta. New abilities. If this was played on a previous turn and your deck is empty, you win the game. Miracle, add a random artifact to your deck. Okay, so now whenever you draw it, you put a card into your deck, so that's already counterproductive for what it wants to do. If this was played on a previous turn and your deck is empty, you win the game. Okay, so they made it so that you have to have the card out on the field before you mill your deck, opposed to how everybody else used to do it, where they would just mill the shit out of themselves, play Maniac, and win, and you couldn't do anything about it. So that's pretty big, because now essentially whenever you see somebody milling themselves, you can just hang on to a removal spell or a damage spell and wait for them to play Maniac, blow up Maniac, and then they'll lose because they won't have any cards in their deck. So it's more manageable now. The fact that it has to be honestly, it should have always been this way. Like the fact that they had it before where they could build themselves, play the card, and then automatically win. Like that was honestly pretty fucking stupid. But this is better. This makes it more manageable. So if you see anybody blue milling themselves, you know, save a damage spell for the end game. Blow up the Maniac. What'd they do to my Tolarian? See, they changed Tolarian because of the motherfucking all you assholes that did the mill decks. Each artifact. Okay, so it no longer applies the cost for each artifact. Now it's just the first artifact each turn. Now it adds a random artifact to your deck. Okay, so they did this nerf because of the mill, the Maniac mill stuff. Because once they got your artifacts to 0, you were able to put down 1 million artifacts, and you know, people were drawing through their decks, you know, before turn 5 and shit. So that's good. That further nerfs the mill decks, which is a good thing. But it also fucks with my artifact deck, what kind of sucks. My artifact deck didn't do anything to anybody. I'm gonna have to test out my artifact deck, make sure it's still good. Here are the Gutfires. What did they do to the Gutfires? So they used to be a 1 mana cost 1/1, and it made 3 copies of itself into your deck. Now it's a 2 mana 2/1 that can't block, and it puts 2 copies of itself in the deck. Okay, so it still does everything that it could do before, but only 2 copies go back in, and it costs 2 mana now. They did make it a 2/1, so it's stronger whenever it attacks, but now it can't block. Okay, so this solves the issue of them putting them out as blockers, and then you not being able to do anything because you didn't want to kill them. Now you can attack and they can't block, so that's good. They can still destroy themselves though, which is what the Jace Gutfires were doing. But this does definitely help a lot. Yeah, we're gonna have to go against these guys and see if it if it really works. Honestly, hopefully people just don't like the nerf. Like, hopefully people think the nerf is big and they just stop playing fucking Gutfire. I still hate this fucking card. But we will no longer scrub against it though. Now we will actually fight it and see how it goes. The other thing with the Gutfires was this fucking trap. It used to be 3 mana that triggers on attack. Now it's 4 mana that triggers at the end of the opponent's turn. Okay. So before you would attack, they would put out Gutfires and then they would block with the Gutfires. Now that the Gutfires can't block, it comes out at the end of your turn. That way they can attack on their next turn. Okay, so it's just, it goes along with the whole change that they did to the actual Gutfire card. And they made it cost 1 mana more. So good. You know what? I mean, like, I've been pretty straightforward that I hate the Gutfires. You know, if you play the Gutfires, you know, that's the choice that you make. Reevaluate your choices. Fuck the Gutfires. What's going on with these Emberlings? Now gives fragile mana instead of no mana. Emberlings cost 1 more. Okay, so this land used to make starting turn 5, you had a chance to add 2 Emberlings to your hand. If so, sorry. Okay, so that's the new one. So the Emberlings used to cost 0, and you could just put them out. Now they cost 1. But you do get a fragile, so you can use one of your fragiles to get one of them out basically for free. That's cool. It just that's basically it's nerfing the aggro decks that were using Emberlings for aggro. Oh no, my boy! What did they do to Tasty Morsel? I love this guy. 1/1 gives 2/2 on death. Now it's a 2/1 that gives 1/1 on death. Okay, so they lowered the +2/+2. That kind of sucks, but it's understandable. That card was great. I fucking love Tasty Morsel. I put it in every single green deck that I had because it was just really, really good. No, I actually really like that card. They did make him a bit stronger. He's a 2/1 now. He's a 1/2/1, and he gives off a 1/1. I'll probably still use him in some of my decks, but literally every green deck I was making had this motherfucker in it just because I loved him so much. What they do to the Demonic Priest? He was a 3/2. Now he's a 2/2. I'm guessing that the fact that he was a 3/2 and you were able to gain so much life back. Well, I mean, it says what it does right there. This card, yeah, it was a bit too efficient at regaining health loss. It was, honestly, like, you can get your health back really, really fast with a Demonic Priest. But I don't think it was, like, unbearable. I don't know if that nerf was needed. It should still be good, the fact that you gain life with it. And it's as much damage as you do. So if you buff this guy, like if you make him a 5/2 or something, then you gain 5 life. So, yeah, considering that, maybe it did need the nerf. If people were buffing him up. Alarm Bell. So this is another thing from... people were using this with their mill cards and their jibber jabber. So you used to be able to draft a creature. Now it just draws a creature. So it doesn't let you pick anymore. Now it's just random. Still a decent card. What'd they do to this one? Encore Performance. Summon the highest cost artifact in your graveyard with 1 charge. It used to be 2 mana. Now it is 3 mana. They just made it take longer in order to do combos. It's a decent nerf. I don't have an issue with that. What they do to the fish? Oh, this is because of people using this was like part of like the mill stuff and everything else. So people were doing, does it say it in here? Having a consistent blockers is fine, but having consistent attackers that can get buffed with the help of some other colors was too aggressive. Yeah, so like the cards that just made anything like five attack, and other cards that like would do make your health whatever make your damage whatever your health is, stuff like that. That's why they nerfed this. Still very usable in decks to have blockers. They just made it easier to kill. Invisibility Cloak. Give a friendly creature sneak and ward. It used to be 3 mana, now it's 4 mana. That's a good nerf. Like, giving a creature... Like, you basically made a creature untargetable. Because they couldn't be blocked, and they couldn't be targeted by specific spells. You know, giving that to anything big is like a game ender. So it's still a very good card. It just costs a little bit more. What do we have over here? Thought Provoker. So they just dropped one of the charges on it. It used to have 3 charges, now it has 2 charges. And the whole thing with that too is just with the Tolarian, like you could put this out for free, and then you know you'd have three cards. Your next 3 cards would all cost 1 less. So it's just slowing down that whole draw mechanic, you know, and drawing cards at lower cost and being able to put out those low cost cards. I have no issue with that. That's completely fine. What is this? I'm glad that they're getting rid of all these free trap shit. Like, the cost 2 less is a lot better. Draw 2 cards and a trap that you arm this turn costs 2 less. Because like you're still gonna get the weaker traps for free, technically. But all those bigger traps, like the 3 and up traps, yeah, this whole free trap thing never should have been a thing. Buff is now permanent. Oh, okay, so they gave this guy a buff. Oswald was supposed to be a compelling build around, but his ability was too situational and hard to use. Okay, so they want people to make decks around him, but originally he was too weak and situational. That's interesting. Well, do I have this guy? I think I have him. Take a look, see if we can make a deck or something with him. What else we got? Reclamation. Now adds a copy of the card to hand instead of the card itself. Okay, so it doesn't actually pull the card out of your graveyard. It just makes a base copy of it. I actually think that's a buff. Because you still have it in your graveyard, so that means you could still get it with other things. Draft a card from your graveyard and add a copy of it to your hand. Now adds a copy of the card to your hand instead of the card itself. I think that's a buff. I don't know if that's supposed to be a buff or a nerf. I think it's a buff. What do they do to the demon that makes deals? Now deals 4 damage instead of 3. Promise Power provides 3 mana instead of 4. Okay, so they made it hurt more in order to use him. And they made Promise of Power 3 instead of 4. So overall big nerf. But honestly, that card's so strong, it's still going to be used. Ball Lightning. They just added fleeting to it. It's still the same. Mastermind. They just changed the way the template is. Updated template to match Supercaster Mage and Necrotic Ooze. What did they change on it? Well, they didn't do anything to it. They just made it look different somehow. I'm not sure how. Matchmaking. So they adjusted the matchmaking again. I didn't mind it how it was. Because like for the first 2 seasons, it was more based on like how much you played, not how well you played. Like you could just play a shit ton of games and level up. But this last season, if you played a shit ton of games and like you lost, then you would go down. You know, that makes sense to me. But they made the extremes lower. Because the extremes used to be 50 at the highest, 10 at the lowest. Now it's 45 at the highest, 15 at the lowest. So you won't be losing or gaining as much. Moonlight, unspent mana. I see, this is what I was wondering about this whenever I made my werewolf deck. So now whenever you use traps, they will still activate the moonlight. Because they didn't used to do that before. Like if you had 2 unspent mana and you put down like a 2 trap, the unspent mana would not activate the moonlight. Now it does activate the moonlight. This is interesting. I'm gonna go back and mess with my werewolf deck. And there's a whole bunch of bug fixes. You can pause it and check it out if you want to see what the bug fixes are. I'm sure that there was a bunch of... Oh, actually, did they fix my... Did they fix my duplication bug? Let's see. Does anybody see Ashiok anywhere? They don't mention my Ashiok duplication. Our Ashiok duplication, for the people that helped me test all that stuff out and brought it to my attention. Okay, that's good to know. Alright, we're already sitting at a very long video. Let's go jump into this this Serra game. So, real quick deck overview. I have life gain in here. I do have a Strahd 1-turn kill in here. So this guy, it gives somebody haste. If he's able to give Strahd haste, that's a 1-turn kill. Also, Stoneforge Mystic. The weapon that she makes, if the weapon that she makes has haste on it, we can save it for Strahd, and then that's a 1-turn kill. The other stuff that I have in this deck is Sanguine Bond. Since she's able to do so much healing, and you know, we can do the unicorn and mend and like all that stuff, Sanguine Bond is going to be one of our big damage dealers. I've tested this deck out a couple of times, and on 1 turn I've done like 10 damage just off of healing, which they could literally do nothing about. Like there's no way to defend against it. So let's see how this works. Win or lose, I'm gonna put this recording out because I'm not gonna go through all those balance changes again. You know, that's the risk of the way that I record. The fact that I just do ones and nuns. You know, you get the straight up, you know, actual feel for everything with the way that I do things. I don't hide anything. So you can still hear the music in the background. It is still the League of Legends stuff. Like I said, I am gonna keep doing that just because I want to hear different stuff now. It is copyright free, so I don't have to worry about anything like that. And I think it's cool. I like it. The sound effects and everything are still in the game. The voiceovers are still in the game. All I did was turn off the game music and I put on this music. So yeah, hopefully you like it. I needed to hear something. I needed to start hearing something different. So now we're healing and we are drawing extra cards. That way we can find our... We're looking for our Sanguine Bond and we are looking for our Strahd.
Stop whinging. It's only blood.
So like we took a damage from that, but at the start of her turn, she's literally gonna heal this back up to 3. That's fucking good, man. That's really fucking good. And now we're gonna heal ourselves 3 because of our unicorn. And we get to draw a card.
It's not your place.
You know what? I feel like that's completely fine. That's a completely fine way to end this. This is already a long video, and that guy saw me heal 2 rounds and is like, fuck this, I'm out. That's the powers of Serra right there. Oh, that's so fucking funny. I will do an actual video of Serra. I'll probably do it like right after this. Like I'll start recording it. But for now, I'll go ahead and end it there because that's just so fucking funny. Hopefully I'll see you in another one of my videos. And if you jump to the end just to see the fight and you just got like those 20 seconds, I'm sorry. Hopefully I'll see you in another one of my videos. Whee!